Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
Good evening, Grots, and welcome to part 3 in our examination of the Nephilim Grand Tournament missions. This one, fitting part 3, is actually mission 4. Ooh. No, not really. Strangely enough, mission 3.
You've just really confused me now, Mark. I don't know what's going on.
Mission 3 or 13 or whatever the fuck you want to call it is called Data-Scry Salvage. Somebody else want to go through the nitty-gritty of this one to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting one command point in both players' command phase, as is the norm in Nephilim. It is a control 2, control 3, control more. So you really need to make sure that you have 2 at all times.
Yeah.
So it's a 6 objective map. There is not one in the center of the battlefield. There are really weird triangle deployment zones that don't quite match the usual triangle ones that you see more often.
Map. Just trying to sit there with the tape measure, mapping it out and working out where everything goes.
There doesn't appear to be any restrictions on getting your CP. You just get them, which is fine. Being a 6 objective map, it doesn't seem to be particularly useful to raise banners because they're so far away, but it's also not impossible.
I quite like banners on this one because, especially if you're playing with a fast army like Blood Angels, you can quite quickly hop onto a lot of these and start doing your banners. And if you face, especially if you're facing a slowish opponent like Custodes or Knights or something that's not got a lot of things that can run around quickly, they can't take them back down again.
Or for infiltrating purposes.
Yeah.
The primary plus on this one requires you to hold as many objectives along the middle line as you possibly can, and then do an action at your deployment zone.
Yes, I'd like to also mention that the action done in your deployment zone can be done by a vehicle, like a whirlwind.
It does not state any restriction, about...
No aircraft.
Oh, no aircraft. Oh, yeah, well. If you've got an aircraft staying pretty in your home objective in your deployment zone, you've probably got bigger problems, to be honest.
I think what you were talking about earlier, John, was data terminals. In this mission,
yes.
If a player controls an objective marker that is in no man's land and at the end of their command phase and one or more of their units is in range of having the objective secured ability or a similar rule, it remains under that player's control unless their opponent controls it.
Oh, that's what you mean by walk off. You walk off the objective.
Yeah. So
once you've taken it, you're walking off the board for some reason.
I mean, I'm going to walk off. I'm going to walk off
this. All your stuff and then they just leave the board.
Yeah, I'm going to walk off this hill for being an idiot and not.
Army as Andrew brought this week. I'm going to walk off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
But so yeah, once you've taken an objective, it's yours until somebody else takes it back.
Yes, what I want to say about this one, I think the deployment in this one is super tactical if you have a fast army, right? And the way I see it is you get 2 objectives on one side of the map, 12 inches from each other, and then you've got 24-inch between the 2 and 2 objectives on the other side. So, like, what I like to do in this map is I like to try and deploy centrally, but watch my opponent's deployment at a hawk, and the second I sort of think like, well, he's going to be weak on the left side, then I'll just make sure I'm strong enough on the left side to just have these 2. They're just mine. If I can contest the right side, that's great, but like I'm just sort of controlling, I'm just going to aim to get my like 3 points or my 2 points for data intercept, and I'm going to do stuff up here. And like, I think as a fast army, I think you have a big advantage on this map, and I think it's just because those 2 there are 24 inches apart, whereas the other 2 are 12.
A map that suits slow, like Death Guard don't like this map. My Custodes don't like this map. I don't like this map.
The game's going to devolve relatively quickly into one army one side and one army on the other side, or top and bottom. Highly likely to be this side and that side, I'd have thought, given how close they are to reach, but maybe I'm misreading that. It's entirely possible. In order to max out the primary plus, you need to be holding 3 of them 4 middle objectives when you do the action.
Yeah,
every turn.
Which is too much.
Your chances of maxing a primary plus are really almost impossible.
I think you should aim to get like 10 from the primary plus, or 8 to 10, and
Hold
then
2 a turn, yeah.
hold two that are close together, and then have something to threaten against the weaker of the 2 on the other player's side. Because if they see you jump onto 2 on this side and you've deployed strongly on one side, they're maybe not going to go in there. So then it's a case. Then the onus is on you to win the game by just pressuring the other 3 that the opponent has.
However, something to plan about when you are planning this and planning what unit to leave on your backfield objective. If you are leaving just 1, it's not doing anything else. It's not shooting unless you've got a special power that lets you do an action and shoot or any other such stuff at the same time. If you're a Blood Angel player who likes taking a whirlwind and you leave the whirlwind there to do the action, that's fine, but he's not suppressing anything.
Yes.
At all.
So you'd have to choose. You have to choose wisely, as they say.
Or maybe consider using a different unit there to.
Yeah, stick some,
leave
if you're doing the Voidsman thing, this is a good place to stick them or whatever.
Yeah, Voidsman would be good in backfield. Another thing I suppose you can do as a Marine player is have like a whirlwind with a squad of Phobos troops there, or Phobos eliminators or whatever, and when you feel you don't need suppression fire anymore, then you can guerrilla tactics the Phobos, and they can, I don't know, come and do their actions or whatever else you are scoring.
So what kind of secondaries do you think, gentlemen?
Again, I'd go against RND on the same basis that you've got multiple units doing actions a turn again.
Yeah, I think it's just quite hard to score, just because the position that you need to be in for R&D takes
Especially
you a long way away from where the
DZ
objectives
portal,
are.
yeah.
You can in turn 1 very reliably score the spot. Like if you're in the red deployment zone, you can score the bottom right hand corner very reliably in turn 1, right? Because your deployment zone comes over halfway. So
3 RNDs is pretty much a gimme, but 4 is going to be very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless
I'd probably avoid those, because again, you've got nothing in the middle and no reason really to be there.
Yeah, agree with that. Banners.
Banners is not a bad shout
value.
if
you can get
on
onto
6 and 3 of them are yours already.
Yeah, if you can get onto 2 of them in turn 1, then banners isn't bad. So you would need units with 12-inch move.
The other one. Yeah.
Behind enemy lines and relentless assault. I'm not a fan of the kind of diagonal deployments for either of those.
Yeah,
I
I'd
find it
probably
quite hard
avoid
to
them
get.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Depending on your opponent's army. If they've got like Harlequins and they've got very few units and they're really fast, they want to be moving out, they might not leave much behind to screen it. Who knows?
But then while your unit's in their deployment zone, the chances are they've not got anything to do.
Yeah.
You'll kill whatever's sitting on their home objective, and then you've got a choice. You either leave the deployment zone and stop scoring that, or just sit there doing nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you don't actually get any benefit for controlling or threatening your opponent's home objective in this one. It removes their ability to do the action.
Yeah, it removes their ability.
So it's
a more tactical one, this one.
Remember, they can't do the action if there's any enemy units present. So if you have something that can deep strike charge, even if you can't kill the opponent, if they don't kill you on the fight back, then they're not doing the action.
So you want something cheap in that one. You want to stick an assault squad or something, because you don't need to kill anything. You just need something that's
something that's going to survive,
and relatively cheap.
Yeah.
You don't want to be committing expensive units to just stopping them from that.
An assault squad or Reavers.
Reave.
Yeah. No,
okay, and on that bombshell, we'll catch you in episode 4. Thank you so much for watching our breakdown of the Strikeforce missions.
All right.
Bye-bye.